Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week marks the 10-year anniversary of the start of combat operations in Iraq. And most of the discussion in this town focuses on politicians, pundits, and writers. And while I don't begrudge people the ability to indulge in those types of debates, I do think what's been missing is tribute to the sacrifices that have been made by American service members. Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War wrote, and I quote, "This extraordinary war in which we are engaged falls heavily upon all classes of people, but most heavily upon the soldier. For it has been said, all that a man hath will he give for his life. And while all contribute of their substance, the soldier puts his life at stake and often yields it up in his country's cause. The highest merit, then, is due to the soldier." End quote. Now, the Iraq conflict is much different than the Civil War, and one of the ways it's different is that the burdens fell perhaps even more directly on our American servicemen and women. After all, we did not have and do not have a military draft. Most of the folks who were going over there volunteered, and a lot of them knowing that they would be sent in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Many of our service members did multiple combat tours, not just for 4 months or 6 months, but 12 months and 15 months in very hazardous duties. And what did they volunteer for? This was not a piece of cake. These were very difficult fights against an enemy that, by and large, dared not show its face. The end preferred to blend into civilian society and wreak havoc with improvised explosive devices and suicide vests. This was a daily reality for our men and women who were on the ground during this period. When direct combat operations did occur between U.S. forces and the enemy, they were often fierce fights in urban centers, the streets of cities like Ramadi and Baghdad. And of course, being on multiple deployments and being gone for so long provided the opportunity for a lot of stress on families. It's difficult to be in a situation where you're missing a holiday. Some of our troops had to miss multiple holidays over multiple years. That is a sacrifice both for the folks who have to be back home, but also for the troops who are on the front lines. So Lincoln said, "The highest merit is due to the soldier." Indeed, as we look back on the 10th anniversary of Iraq, what we see are soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who were given the most difficult of tasks, and yet they discharged their duties with courage and skill. Henceforth, nobody will be able to recount the great feats of some of our services, such as the Marine Corps, from the shores of Tripoli to Belleau Wood to Guadalcanal, without also mentioning the great feats performed by brave Marines in places like Fallujah. When recounting the unparalleled skill of our Special Operations Forces, credit will have to be given to those Navy SEALs that ruled the night during Iraq's most perilous moments. So, for braving the storms of war with honor, tenacity, and distinction, we thank you, the American service member, for the sacrifices you made on behalf of our country. And for those who gave the last full measure of devotion, you have earned a place in the pantheon of America's greatest heroes. We thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And I yield back the balance of my time.